Something I see frequently asked on subreddits, especially subreddits like the Raiden mains or the Zhao mains, is here's my roster, so what do I use with it? And so today I want to take that question and I want to teach it in a way that way it will apply to literally every single character in the game and any character that can be added to the game. As for your domain clears, if you aren't grinding friendship or something, we can look at comps, especially if we're testing teams to push our stars to the Spiral Abyss. For starters, what makes a good team? The thing that I preach every day on stream and to my friends still stands, that no matter who says what, if you want to main DPS a character, there is a way to make it work. It might take way more investment to make it work, but it can work if you want it to. And with that out of the way, let's use Zhao as an example. I see a lot of people wondering what can they use with him? What does Zhao need? Well, Zhao needs a healer since his burst drains his health, an animo battery, potential shielding and off-field damage dealer since he wants to be the one on-field since he's a selfish DPS. Okay, now that we have that list of what the character needs, let's look at who we have because everyone's account is different. Not everyone has every character. So let's go over what all the roles can be filled. So the animo battery can very easily be literally any of the animo characters in the game besides him. And it also just depends again on what you have on your account. So now let's look at the healer. For healers, we have Chi-Chi, Jean, Barbara, Sayu, Kokami, Bennett, Diona, and Noelle. Now, let's say for example, just for this example, you have every single one of these characters. So now let's consider which ones don't really fit the role that we need them to. And first up is Noelle. Now, Noelle does solid damage, Noelle does solid healing, especially since, you know, she got the big buff of the Husk of Opulent Dreams as a badge. The issue with Noelle for this team comp is that she takes up too much field time. Noelle's healing comes from her dealing damage on the field, but her damage is going to be lower than Zhao's damage. The whole point of our comp on a Zhao comp, or a Eula comp, but for this situation it's the Zhao comp, is for Zhao to be the one on field dealing damage because he's our hyper carry. He's a very selfish hyper carry. He wants all the field time. Noelle removes that field time, so let's mark Noelle out, she's out. Now let's take a look at Chi-Chi. While having amazing healing, Chi-Chi herself needs a cryo battery, which isn't inherently a bad thing for fitting in a team comp, but the thing that really kills it for Chi-Chi for this team comp is her cooldowns are just too long. Now let's check out Kokami. And Kokami is a pretty okay fit, because she does offer off-field healing and off-field damage, but when in a pinch and you need more healing output, outside of her jellyfish cooldown, she has to take the field just like Noelle to deal damage, to do her healing, and her dealing damage, which is going to be way lower than Zhao, is just damage you're losing when you want your hyper carry to be on the field. Now let's take a look at Sayu. Sayu can give you some animo energy back with her sacrificial greatsword build, but her burst is pretty high cost, and I know we'll need a battery for that, but we can talk about that later because Sayu still fits a lot of what Zhao would want because all of her damage and healing is when she is off field. So Sayu, pretty good fit. We can let Sayu stay in for the next part. Bennett at Constellation 1 is just broken, so he can kind of go with anyone in the game. It doesn't really matter. Diona, in my opinion, doesn't have a extremely high healing output. Now this is just my opinion, and if you love Diona and want to use Diona, then you can put Diona here. But I personally don't think Diona has enough healing output to both heal Zhao up and heal the rest of the team up when needed. That's just my personal opinion. I do like Diona, I do use Diona on certain comps, but I don't think Diona is going to help Zhao out all too much, especially compared to our other options. Now let's take a look at Barbara. Barbara does fine off-field healing. Barbara has a burst that will just instantly heal the entire team, similar to Jean. So Barbara's a fine fit here. We can put Barbara in. And then lastly, we have Jean. And Jean offers literally every single thing that Zhao wants. She has off-field damage, since when enemies enter and exit her burst, Dandelion Breeze, they take animo damage. She has probably the best healing in the entire game. She has insane damage numbers, so she can work as a sub DPS. And since she has a 6-second cooldown on her elemental skill that generates good elemental particles, she's also an animo battery. So Jean is clear-cut winner. But if you don't have Jean, we can also say that the other two clear-cut winners are Sayu and Barbara. So now that we have our healers, we have to think of our other 2 slots that we can use on that team. So let's take a look at the Barbara team. So for the Barbara team, we can already see that we need an Animo battery. So let's say in this situation, we're going to use Sucrose as the Animo battery, since at Constellation 1 and with sacrificial fragments, Sucrose can generate a lot of Animo particles. Now that we have our team of Zhao, Barbara, Sucrose, who do we want as our 4th character? Well, our 4th character would likely be an off-field damage dealer, something like Fischl, Xingqiu, Albedo, Rosaria, Kaya, Zhongli, or even Raiden Shogun. This would all be a perfectly viable comp for Zhao. Now, if we chose the team focusing on Xiaoyu as our healer, we would have Zhao, Xiaoyu. Now, Xiaoyu herself needs some help with her energy, and for this, we can either use a Favonius weapon user, such as Kaya or Rosaria, using Favonius Lance or Favonius Sword, or we could even use something like Xingqiu, since he has so much particle generation with his sacrificial sword build, that he could also be there. Most notably, in my opinion, is Raiden Shogun, who is an amazing universal battery. So let's use Raiden for this example. And then our last character could just be an off-field damage dealer. Again, Fischl, Xingqiu, Albedo, Rosaria, Kaya, Zhongli, Raiden, Shogun. These are just some of them. There are other off-field damage dealers. Like you could use Zhongling as well, or Lisa with her burst. It's all, of course, what you have, what you want to use. And finally, when we slot in Jean, since she covers the battery, the sub DPS, and the healing, we have way more flexibility in our team comp. This is also why the most popular Zhao team is Zhao, Jean, Albedo, and Zhongli. Since Zhongli offers resistant shredding, off-field damage with his pillar, and a shield, Albedo offers superb off-field damage, and Jean covers literally everything that Zhao needs. It's just a perfect team comp for him. Team building can be very overwhelming on its own, but how we built this team can apply to other teams in the game and in the future. You just focus your team around covering the weakness of your carry or what reactions you want to build on. Since this was a neutral team, since Zhao is Animo and completely neutral element as the carry, let's cover a team that isn't a neutral element team. So let's go for Tartaglia, Beidou, Raiden, and Xingqiu, or Tartaglia Taser. As long as there's no corrosion and you're dodging, Xingqiu and Beidou can pretty much take care of all the damage mitigation and healing for this comp. Especially if your Beidou has constellations and she has her shield. If you don't have the constellations, then Beidou can always be used as a fast swap for her counter to mitigate all damage and apply electrode everything and generate particles for herself. Raiden is in the team comp, not for Beidou, but Raiden is there to cover Tartaglia's downtime. Whenever Tartaglia uses his Foul Legacy Raging Tides, he's going to have a roughly 15 second cooldown, and Raiden makes up for 7 of this, and then rotating through your other characters can easily make up the other 8. Now this teamwork comp works really well because while Beidou doesn't work with Raiden, Beidou is not there for Raiden, Beidou is there for Tartaglia. Raiden is there to make sure Xingqiu, Beidou, and Tartaglia all line up together, while also giving them all additional burst damage and giving Tartaglia another additional AoE Electro applier alongside Beidou's ultimate. Now, I understand that this is just the tip of the iceberg of team building information that some people might still have questions on, but you can always feel free to ask me in the comments, or if you're curious about anything else that I might have forgotten to mention, you could always ask me live over at twitch.tv/Splurky. And if you guys like the video, please like it, and if you really like the video, then please consider giving a sub to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. It's greatly appreciated, and that's all I have for you today, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.